turning experiences into art.
And see what we do here? We help each other find our own healing.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Kuyani Denise.
And my name is April Diane. And we are
the Q&A Exchange.
Yes, this is our very first broadcast. We're starting 2022. Just coming to you live once a week. Yes. We'd like to hear your stories. This podcast is going to be about critical thinking. It's the foundation of the Q&A Exchange, looking at stories and experiences from different perspectives.
The critical thinking is not like what we learned in school. Actually, I should say what you learned in school if you're a millennial on up, because they didn't teach us critical thinking when I was in school. But it's not about anything other than how you dissect your own life, how you analyze and how you manage your experiences, the outcomes, the reactions, the responses, how you critically think about what you're in and what you're going through and how you're going to be okay. So it's just, we just talking.
Yeah, we're just talking. We want, you to submit your stories. So you can submit your stories and you can submit them and be anonymous, or you can share your name. You can actually even decide you want to come on the show and talk about your story. We welcome that too. So you can go to aprildiane.com and enter on the link. It'll say share your story, and you can submit your story. And yeah, we'll let you know when exactly we're going to air it on the show.
Right. So bear with us, y'all. This is our first time doing this. I mean, I'm always on video, but not for anything this specific, but this is our first time doing this. This is our very first podcast. Now, while April has experience in radio broadcasting, this is her first time on camera. And she's also not feeling well right now. So y'all got to rock with us. The raw from us, and we expect the real and raw from you. But don't judge us because we struggling a little bit, okay? Appreciate y'all for that.
Yeah. And our topic today is procrastination. And procrastination, for the next couple of series, we're going to be breaking that down. Procrastination, perfectionism, the fear of success, worthiness, all of that we feel ties into the whole procrastination piece and why people procrastinate. So we didn't want to procrastinate and say, oh, we'll start the podcast next week. We wanted to come and bring it. We said we was going to do it. We said we was going to launch on the 1st of January. So we decided, let's do it. And if it's not perfect, that's okay. So, one of the things that for me personally, I leave a little mistake in everything that I do. I started doing that maybe about 7 years ago, because I realized that by trying to get things just right, I would never move forward. I would always just, I'm going to do it. I'm getting to it because I'm waiting for everything, all the pieces to come together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I never thought about that, to intentionally leave a mistake. That sounds like a heart attack to me.
I don't do it on purpose. Yeah, I don't do it on purpose, but I do. If a mistake happens, then I'm going to leave it, because I think that people need to see the real. They need to see that all of us are navigating these experiences for the first time. We're figuring it out, right. And while experience may definitely help us to fine tune some things, we're never going to get it exactly the way that we want. We're always going to look at what we did and see room for improvement, and that's okay.
That's interesting, because it's what I've been doing in recent, I want to say the past couple of years or so, especially with being on the internet and reading people's posts and seeing misspellings and incorrect grammar and things like that. And I'm a stickler for those things. Like, they make me uncomfortable. They make me like want to just, I don't know, throw up. And my kids will tell you, I literally policed their text messages, and they were like, "We're gonna kick you out of the group chat if you don't stop." So I had to
Not the text messages. Wait, hold up.
So I had to just like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. The people I'm reading, whose texts or messages I'm reading, are smart people. They just
a minute. How you policing people's text messages when I tell you that this woman right here, in terms of texting, she is the worst texter in terms of, first off, the spelling, the grammar be all off. Okay. And she constantly, the little star, the little asterisk that you send, and then you could send your corrections. She's every line she putting in. I'm like, I know what you meant. I know you don't have to.
So the me two-hand typing fast like I'm typing on a keyboard is a result of me letting go, because the person I was the hardest on was myself. I would never send a text. I would sit and read it over again and over again and over again. People are like, did she get my text? Like,
right.
I was making sure it was grammatically correct, that the punctuations were in the right, that I put emphasis wherever I needed an emphasis. It was ridiculous. Now I'm just like, then I go back and read it and be like, I don't even know what I was trying to say. I was trying to let go. Because I literally would tear other people's stuff up. So now when I read stuff, I just put the mistakes away. It's like, I know what you're trying to say. My biggest thing was, like, I have a lot of friends who have published books that have typos, or it's just like, and I get bothered by that, because I'm like, other people are gonna see this, and you my homie, and if they think something about you because they saw this, I'm gonna get mad at them. So I wish we had talked before you pushed the button, so I could help you edit it a little bit. I was like, you know what? I found typos in major books. I found typos in The Help. I found typos in other things that, sold millions of copies. Everybody's not perfect. I've seen typos in news articles from reputable newspapers and things like that. You know what? The message got across, didn't it?
Exactly.
For the most part, it was not, the bulk of it is, you can understand it, right?
Right.
So let it go. So I'm working on it.
Mm-hmm. There's gonna be some mistakes, y'all. And speaking of which, so we got a story submission from Kelly, and you might have seen it on our social media. My social media handle is Coach April Diane. That's on Instagram, and then Kuyani's social media handle is
.com. No, Jesus, I'm doing it.
That's our website.
It's In Her Work _ co. So In Her Work is INHERWORK _ and abbreviation for In Her Work Elevation Company. So I just said a lot, but if you're on here, you've already seen it. You already know that. That's who I am, and that's where you can find me.
Yeah. So we shared a little snippet of Kelly's story. Kelly is our first submission. And so I want to just go ahead and read what Kelly sent us. Okay. She said, I've always been a writer. I probably wrote my first fire piece when I was 10 years old. I had a natural way with words. They seem to love me and they want to serve me. So I spent most of my free time, even some of the times when I should have been paying attention in class or finishing a project at work or listening in church, I spent that time writing. I would work and rework pieces until I was satisfied or somewhat satisfied, often coming back to them in the future to tweak. Often when I was free flowing and just getting it in, I would be perfecting my art. That was my joy. And I couldn't get enough of perfecting my art. When people started commissioning things from me, poems for weddings, college essays, I've written a few papers that have garnered an A grade in notable institutions, articles for nonprofit newsletters and the like. And everything in my soul knew that getting it right was far more important than it had ever been. Kelly says that she would often stay up overnight and into the next day trying to create the perfect piece. with Coca-Cola and the Reese's peanut butter cups in her hands. They were her go-to for stamina and distraction. There was a terror to producing for someone outside of myself. It didn't matter if no one liked what I wrote for my own personal catalogs. My writings were for my pleasure, for my release. But creating for another human being, something that would be shared even with more human beings, that had meaning beyond the pen and the paper that I used to put together. Really didn't want any parts of that. Really didn't want any parts of sharing for other people, sharing for with other people. So what if it sounds stupid? What if they don't understand? But what if they criticize and try to tell me what I should write? That made me sick. Eventually, the idea of writing paralyzed me. Fingers on the keyboard, frozen in place. Panic would run through my body, and the urge to scream would mount up inside of me. I would miss months of my menses from stress, and I would question, why did I say yes? Why did I say yes to this? Why did I keep saying yes to this? So Kelly says that she went from toiling to producing perfection in the time allotted, to deadlines being pushed way back. Eventually, years went on and I took on projects and then reneged. So she wouldn't do them because I literally could not stomach the idea of them not coming out right. I couldn't get myself to do them. This happened so much that my own personal writing suffered. I would get that familiar fire in my bones, a burning that I imagine all artists get, and all artists that I admired had, only that they would act on theirs continually, and she envied them. But I would get that fire and it would burn, and I would walk around in agony because I would not sit down to do it. I wouldn't sit down to write. I was afraid of it. I was afraid that I wasn't good enough, that the writing wouldn't be good enough. I was afraid to see my words on paper. Every day, I would bellyache about how I needed to write. But I told myself that my day job was too demanding, and so she made excuses. I was too tired. I told myself that I didn't feel like it. I was waiting for the miraculous creative surge to come through, that inspiration, like the one I got when I wrote my first book. How even though I suffered from lupus flares, I would burn the midnight oil, editing and re-editing for months on end until I was somewhat satisfied. That sounds familiar. Sounds similar to what we were just talking about a little bit. I was looking for that push that I had when I spent the wee hours of the night helping my ex-husband build and manage his business. Projects that I loathed, but I did them because I felt obligated to do them. I needed that kind of inspiration, Where was that miracle jolt that would make me create the way my idols did? Why couldn't I do it? Why wouldn't I do it? Why wouldn't I just open up a blank Word document and just type one character just to see where it would take me? Am I really the artist that I claim to be, or am I an imposter? Kelly believed that she was an imposter. She was lost, and it broke her heart. Broke her heart. She felt like she was betraying the artist within herself, like she was keeping herself in a cage. But she was too afraid to unleash her artist because she was afraid that she was just too imperfect. Wow.
Mm.
Can you imagine, like, just, having a gift and not getting it out? Like, so what about you? Like, can you relate at all to Kelly?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
It it is definitely it's sad, you know. Um to have something that you truly desire, that you are good at, and not be able to do it. And not because someone said you can't, not because you don't have access or resources, but you won't let you do it for whatever the reason is. It is it's hard to not belittle yourself. It's almost like that's compensation. Like, you suck because you're not doing what you should be doing, or something that you could be doing. You've been given this gift, and look at you. You know, you're not worth it. And then saying things that to yourself like that, in a weird way, makes you feel better, because you know you're not doing it, and that's bad. So you should be looked down on, and who should be doing it but you? It sounds crazy, but it's kind of like staying in a bad relationship, even though you know it's bad for you, but you have someone, so that's good, even though
Right.
it makes you feel terrible. So it's kind of like, accepting, and it's not the truth. The truth,
Settling. It's like settling. It sounds like settling.
there you go.
I
So
don't know. Like, can you relate to this? Like, I know, I've heard people say, that when you procrastinate, it kind of gives you an excuse that I'm good at what I do. And if I really did it, if I put myself out there and did it, I would thrive, but I don't have time. I don't do it. Is that a way of avoiding,
yeah,
or
absolutely.
is that a way of, like, I guess, lying to yourself,
Yeah,
that I know I'm good, but it's not that I'm not good. It's just that I haven't taken the time to do it. Because if I took the time to do it, I would be great at it.
yeah. It's like making yourself, exactly what you're saying, making yourself feel good about not doing it. Um, One of the things I used to do a lot, was procrastinate on those types of things that I know I can do well. I told myself, "You're good in the clutch, Kuyani. You are good under pressure. You get things done way better under pressure," and that's true. But it's painful as hell. I'm like crazy in the head. I'm scared I'm not gonna make the deadline. I don't know if it sounds right, but if it has to be done, I'm gonna do it. I don't feel well
Is that your way of getting
all the
out?
time.
Is that your way of making sure that you do it? Waiting till the last minute, and that way you can't think yourself out of it? Because if you have to
I
sit,
have no choice but to get it done. I can't call someone and be like, so I didn't do this thing. One of the areas that I do that in, is with my professional development portfolio at work. We kind of have to work on it. So we have a meeting in the middle of the year to see how our progress on the goals that we set at the beginning of the year, how we're doing, whatever. And then we get pointers back from our managers or whatever. And then you go back, and you know that at the beginning of the year, you're going to have this meeting again, and you need to come with your plan, your SMART goals, and all this stuff. And for me, and these are things I've told myself because I'm older now and I don't think the way I used to, and I don't retain the way I used to. These are the things I've said. And I really believe that if those things are true about me, it was simply because I wasn't taking care of myself. But I know that I've gotten better in those areas. So I can retain as well as I retained when I was 21. I just have to stop telling myself the opposite. But I open, one of the things that are different about me now is that I would open these documents that are supposed to help you write your professional development goals. And it was too much on the paper. It just scared me to look at. And it was kind of hard for me to put those things together. And it's 50 million acronyms. SMART goals is an acronym. In my job, we have WOW, that's an acronym. Then we have speed, agility, courage, and there's another one I can't think of right now, like, collaboration. So it's like you have to tell how you've performed in those areas. You have to have your SMART goals. And it's like all these different things. And for me, it's like, and then the tools that are supposed to help me, whoever's making them, for me, it's clutter on the page and I can't put it together. So it just looks like a big jumbled mess for me. And it terrifies me. My managers are great. I tell them all the time, whenever we get on that call, because I have 3 managers. So it's not me just one boss. We're all sitting together, having this meeting together. And I'm on there like, y'all already know. I hate this. I don't want to do it. You see me. I know what kind of job I'm doing. Can I just write down, this is what I did, this is how I did it, this is where I need improvement, this is how I plan on doing that. I don't want to be sexy about it because it's hard for me already to do this. This is like another job. So this is something that I have to think about for 365 days a year. It's hard. So I wait to the last minute often to get it done. There are times when I've tried to do it in advance, but it literally scares me. I'm not playing. I'm like, I'm scared of it. So last year, my manager and I did it, and I went back and I had to do it. I had to fix it like it might have been earlier this year, last year, I don't remember, but I had to fix it like 4 times. I was so frustrated because each time I brought it to them, I was like, yeah, I got it this time. And they were like, no. And then they told me, when we present to the head boss, we can't come, half behind either. We have to come with our shit right. And so this is why we do with you. And they're not mean about it, but it makes me so uncomfortable. So I always wait to the last minute. And by then I'm like, I don't even care what it looks like, whatever, because this to me, and I've figured out something now. So what I've done is I've reached out to the rest of the admins. So now we have a meeting every month to go over how we all are putting together our stuff for our professional development every time I finish something. Because another part of my problem is that I think what I do is not important. I'm like, oh, I'm just to help. Oh, it don't matter. I just get it done. But I'm not writing it down, and I'm not saying I did this today. And in doing this today, I exercised collaboration, speed, agility, courage. I can do that as I go, but in my mind, I work so much, I don't have time to stop and do that. So it's in the back of my head, your review is coming soon, your mid-year review is coming soon, you should have this stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. I'm scared of it. It sounds crazy, but I'm freaking nuts when it comes to this thing. It's horrible, but I got a plan now. I got a plan, and we're going to work it out.
You said a few things, but first I want to talk about the overthinking. Do you think that procrastination is connected to overthinking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because of everything that I just said. So I think you and I talked about this last week about thinking beyond the moment and worrying about all the things that haven't happened yet because they possibly could happen. You can't do anything in the moment. You can't work on what you have right in front of you because you're worrying about what might happen when you finish working on that. And so overthinking is that. It's like, oh, this is due in March. Oh God, that means I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to do this and I have to do that. And what if this happens? And I also have this going on over here. And oh my God, what if they don't want this? What if this is not the way they want it and they make me go back and do it over again? You're thinking about everything except the thing that you actually have to do. Now that's gone. And all the stuff that could possibly come out of it is what you're focusing on. So I'm in the process of learning to let go of tomorrow, let go of outcomes, let go of the possible whatevers, and stay right here. This is where I am right now. Right now is the project that I've been given. That's it. Nothing else. Focus on this. Take it apart little by little. Figure out how you're going to get it done one thing at a time and just leave it alone. But being an overthinker, I don't think there's anyone on this planet who hasn't been an overthinker at some point. You know what I mean? I used to think I was like, oh, I'm an overthinker. Like I'm in a special club, of people who don't get stuff done because they think too much about it. No, it's like a disease. it's like a contagion. It's common, there are a lot of people, maybe some people with just particular things, but overthinking is probably the foundation of procrastination. I don't know. I don't know, but I feel like it is the driving force or the biggest driving force.
Yeah, that's an important point, worrying about all of the things that haven't happened yet. right? So you basically start making a list in your mind of all that could go wrong. And that brings me back to the point that we're scared of being wrong. Why is that? Why are we so scared of being wrong? Is that the ego?
Uh, I think it's so if ego is present a lot as a result of traumas. We feel like we have to renew our power or take our power back. And ego plays a huge part in the decisions that we make and how we handle people. And I feel like, say the question again, because
So why are we scared of being wrong?
there we go. So I can only speak from personal experience. And I recently told someone this, that I don't like being told what to do and I don't like being wrong. And I feel like I explained why, but I don't really remember. But being told what to do for me is like it's directly related to trauma. People took from me without my permission and made me feel powerless. And in the taking, they were also forcing me to do things that I didn't want to do. And so if someone's telling me to do something, and it could be as simple as, you should try this, I think it will work for you. And in my head, I'm like, who the fuck asked you? Did I ask? And don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me I should try nothing. You know what I mean? Or take this. I think you'll like it. Don't tell me to take. I mean, it sounds really dumb, but it's like, that's what my head does. It doesn't come out my mouth, but my head is like, I don't want that. Like, don't tell me to take it. Let me ask you for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's foolish. Now, the part about being wrong, when people tell you constantly that you're not enough, you're either going to do one of two things. You're either going to say, oh, well, fuck it, I'm not enough, so I'm going to try to be more. Or you're going to try every single area of your life to be more, to be the best. So if someone tells you that you're wrong, that's impossible, because you've worked so hard to not be, that being wrong is no. What do you mean? So that's a big thing for me. I face my stuff though. I get in there. I allow myself to be checked and corrected, even though I don't like the way it feels. But you can tell. So, for example, today, someone came to me to tell me there were a couple of errors in a project I had done, but there were only two, and that the people I submitted it to corrected it, so it's all good. So they mentioned the stuff that was wrong, and I was like, first of all, I looked at this list 500 times over. I took my time, but I was finished with one. I went back and I checked it and I rechecked it, and then I crossed it out so that I wouldn't go back and do the same thing over and over again. I didn't alter anything. It was a cut and paste job, so there's no way I didn't leave anything out. Each year that I do this thing, I do it. I work hard. So if somebody got left out, it's because y'all didn't put it in the list. But this person returns and sends me a bunch of emails that they had sent me with these attachments, and I'm like, the last one I got from you didn't have any of this stuff. But I was like, all right. So I'm like, this time I know I'm not wrong, but I'm thinking about all the times that I was. And so now I'm upset. I don't show that in the thing. I'm real. You can read my email and smiley, smiley. Oh, well, I'm glad it worked out. But in my head, I'm like, because now you're triggering me. Now I'm back to, oh, remember when you messed it up the last time? Remember when you forget those things? Oh, remember when you didn't go back and look at it again? Well, I know I didn't do that. But it was like, I was wrong before, and now you're trying to tell me I'm wrong again. And in this one, I couldn't prove anything. because she came back with some stuff. I was like, I'm not gonna go read all of that. Okay, fine. I'm glad it worked out. Bye. And I don't want to talk about this anymore. But it brought up that stuff because being wrong is not an option when you have been wronged, when you have been told that you're not good enough. You wrong. So procrastination ties in with that because most of the time you're afraid of not getting it done. A lot of times it's the whole I don't feel like it. But where did that come from?
Well, it sounds like there's more of it's not afraid of not getting it done. It sounds like there's more of a fear of being seen. There's more of a fear of someone of a personal attack because it sounds like you took the fact that they said your work was wrong as a personal attack on you to say that you and your whole existence is wrong. Would that be accurate?
Like, bitch, you don't know my life. You
Right. Exactly.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
No, that's accurate. That's accurate.
So it confirms your own belief, the subconscious belief about not being good enough.
Yeah.
It's like, see, you know what? I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to risk. It's a risk being exposed to letting other people see that I'm not good enough. If I only focus on the things, that I know that I can completely shine in, right? Without being seen or getting feedback from other people, right? Because certain things, you don't need feedback from other folks, right? When you get
that you know. And that was the thing. I knew that I had done it right. So I don't need, if you fix 2 mistakes, so what? Don't don't tell me. You know how many times people made mistakes? I ain't say nothing. I just fixed it. Because I don't know what was going on in their life that day.
Right.
They were probably doing 50 million things, which I do every day. I'm carrying a lot of loads. I'm not mad about them. I can rock in them, but sometimes I'm gonna make mistakes. Some people that I look up to, like nobody's business, tell me they go through the same thing. And I'm like, what? You're like perfect. Like, I don't see that. And they're like, nope. And when they tell me the type of mistakes they made, I'd be like, dang, I ain't even never did that. You know what I mean? It's like, what? But it's in my head, it was like, don't come for me.
So someone giving you feedback about your work, it makes you feel like they're coming for you.
I didn't ask for it, yes.
Okay.
No, not all the time. No. So I'm lying. I'm so lying right now. Yes, absolutely. So it's like, you get that phone call from a friend and be like, I just want to let you know that I love you. And I think the world of you and you're this, and the other, but I need to talk to you about something. And then they tell you did some shit that's either wrong or just dumb, or they don't understand where your life is going. And I'm sitting there like seething, like, I know the person means well. I know they care about me, but I don't want to fucking hear it. I don't want to hear you tell me that something's wrong, especially since I already know.
So is there a way that you can, because getting feedback from others, because I used to call it criticism, right? Like, and then one of my bosses, I was like, I'll take the constructive criticism. And he was like, I'm not criticizing you. I'm giving you feedback, and it's like feedback is because there is some great components about what you did, right? But I want you to continue to improve, right? Because this is an evolutionary experience. We should always want to continue to improve. So I want to highlight to you that there are some good things. So that's my question and comment at the same time. Like sometimes people will sandwich a criticism. That's a technique that people use. It's not a criticism, a feedback. They'll sandwich the feedback. So they'll say, oh, you did this, and this right. This needs to be altered. And I know, and I'm confident that you can do it. So there goes the sandwich, pointing out what you did right, pointing out what can be improved, and then complimenting you at the end, saying that I'm telling you because I know that you have the ability to take it to the next level.
So here's why I feel really bad now about the exchange I had earlier. And again, I didn't say anything bad, but if you read the lines, you could tell I probably was like, bitch, go away.
Right.
She
It was
did.
in your tone.
The whole thing was fine except for two. Like 2 names was missed. That's it. Everything was fine. I mean, and it was a long ass. This thing takes me a while to do. It was a lot, and I got it all right. There were just 2 missing. Now, by right, I did it. It was not my fault. I know that those 2 names were not on the list. I went back and looked at it. I screenshot it and sent it to her, and I was like, "This is what you gave me, boo." And she was like, "Well, no, I sent." I'm like, "Okay, you know what? That's the last list I got." But okay, I'm glad it worked out. But
So with all of that, with it being only 2, like everything else you did right, why was your mind focused on the 2 things that you did that were wrong?
my mind, there should have been no contact at all about this because I did what I was supposed to do. And she was the one who had not given me the proper information. So if only, and it was only 2. Well, one of them wasn't supposed to be there and one was supposed to. I'm like, you the one to put his name on the list. If he wasn't supposed to be there, why is his name on the list? That's number 1. Number 2, the person who was supposed to be on the list, you didn't put them on there. So neither one of those was my fault. But it was whatever. But the point is, she said everything was perfect except for those 2. And all I focused on was those 2 parts. Like, no, what? You said what? I ain't hear none of the list was, it was great. Everything was input. And they fixed it, by the way. So it was in my mind, it was said that I made a mistake. It was corrected. And so you didn't even need to come and say nothing to me about it.
So, okay, so there's a few parts of that that's coming up. Like, it sounds like, and maybe this is directly related to, it's triggering a past trauma about something being your fault, people not taking responsibility for their parts of it. Do you think that that is a part of what caused you to be in such a rage, that she wasn't taking responsibility for the fact that she didn't give you the information, so you couldn't put it on there properly?
In this case, no, because
Okay.
she does that a lot. What it is that I have struggled with my age when it comes to working and being competent and whatever. Like, some people get a job and they stay there forever. Not a lot of people my age who do what I do move around a lot. So every time I have to start a new job, the starting over is very uncomfortable for me because I am not as quick as I was before. So I'm always thinking about how old I am. So I am very hard on myself about getting it right. So when someone says I got it wrong, I start thinking about all those things. Oh, you're older, and that's why I can't get right, and this just things that are not real, that I start telling myself. So that's what it did. It triggered. She's been in the same job for 20-something years. Everybody that I work with, pretty much, who's older than me, same story. This is my in the past 10 years, what's this, 2022? Between 2012 and now, I've had 3 or 4 jobs. So I've had to start over again at a new company who does things that are completely different than where I was before, at least 4 times. You've been doing the same thing for 2.5 decades. So it's harder for me. I feel like I'm already under the spotlight, like I'm already being watched. And it's not that I don't know what I'm doing. It's just that I have all these other factors, that I haven't been doing this as long as everyone else has here in this place. So I stand out. You know what I mean? So that's what it triggered for me. The whole, you're getting too old, oh, you're not what you used to be. And I know those things are not true. I work very hard on accepting this next chapter, being where I am now, and finding all the good in all the beautiful nuances in it. But you can't do that unless you face those wrong voices, those voices saying the wrong things and those wrong ideas. So that's what I'm doing. So that's what that thing
Was about.
It was very personal, you know.
So it's like, from what I just heard, it's like, okay, a couple different things here. Maybe I'm not as good as I think I am, right? I
Mhm,
heard that, right? And so I'll procrastinate because then we'll never know.
mhm, mhm,
Okay. The second thing is that I already have doubts
mhm,
about how good I am. So it could be the other extreme. I already
mhm,
have doubts about how good I am.
mhm,
And, but I know that I really am good,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
But getting criticized or getting feedback causes me to doubt whether, my own ability,
mhm,
which brings me back to a place of feeling stuck and frozen and questioning my
mhm,
own worth.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, that's it.
I think this was great. I think that we have embarked on a lot today regarding perfectionism. I mean, procrastination and why we do it. You
Mhm,
know, I want us to continue the conversation. And so I want to just um, encourage all of you to stay tuned to our next episode, because we're going to go in a little bit deeper with this procrastination. We're going to bring in a guest, and we're going to talk to them about their feelings about procrastination and how it shows up in their life. And if you'd like to add to this discussion, hop onto our social media handles and add some comments in the post that we post this week about procrastination, and join in the discussion. And we definitely will answer your questions, or we'll pose your questions on our next podcast. So yeah, this has been a great Q&A exchange. I think we really we scratched the surface here.
very expository. I don't know
I
about this.
know. But we here and we doing this. We ready. Let's go. All
Ready?
right. Y'all enjoy your new year. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, aprildiane.com. Check us out and submit your story so that we can share your story and get some feedback and offer you some perspectives on.
Also, go to inherwork.com and click the Q&A exchange button and submit there as well.
Man. All right. Peace.